the great pleasures of being a chef at Cakebread Cellars is the vegetable garden that Dolores Cakebread oversees. And it's a great joy to be able to use the produce that's coming out of that garden. This month's recipe is to try and utilize the beans as well as the nice peppers that Dolores has growing out there. I've got Blue Lake beans, I've got yellow wax beans. You got nice contrasted colors. And then we're going to toss them in a red pepper Soffrito. Very simple, but it's very flavorful. Middle of winter, you're not going to get very excited by beans. But during the summer when beans are in season, they're really sweet, and what we're trying to do is just bring out their natural sweetness. Soffrito is a Mediterranean term. It's the base that they start so many of their dishes with, whether it's a pasta sauce or a ragu, a paella, a soup. And we do a lot of cooking classes at the winery, and one of the things that people are always really curious about is knives and how to utilize their knives. And when you're cutting an onion, you just want to cut off the very top of it so that you still have that core keeping it all together. What I'm doing is I'm cutting through and I'm sort of stopping before I get to the end there where that core is that keeps all the layers together. And then same thing, I'm going to make cuts all the way across the onion. You also notice I'm using my fingers actually as a guide. I know your first inclination is to move your fingers as far away from the blade as you can, but in this instance it is actually safer to use the knife as a guide and you don't have your fingertips out like that. Everybody asks, what's the secret to chopping onions without crying? And the secret is to do it quickly. People also ask me if it's okay to chop it in their food processor. The machine, just the way it operates, it's going to bruise the onion a lot more. And one of the things that's going to happen is as you bruise the onion, you're releasing a lot more of the juices. And the juices also tend to get stronger as they're exposed to air. And peppers, cut them in half. Just grab the seeds out of the center and pull them out. Tap them against your hand, that should get most of the seeds out. And then again, just like the onions, I want to mince these as finely as possible. I want to create something that's going to distribute its flavor and coat the beans really well when we finish. So we're going to warm up a saucepan, put a little bit of olive oil into just enough to coat the vegetables. Equal parts of finely minced onion and peppers. And a pinch of salt. Again, that's going to help pull out a little bit of moisture out of the onions and the peppers so that they start to stew in their own juices. And that's really what we're trying to accomplish here, is not to cook this at such a high heat that things are going to brown really quickly. It's very simple, but the whole secret is taking your time, letting it cook down slowly, vegetables getting really, really soft, and also just sort of really concentrating the natural sweetness that they have in them. This is going to take a good 15-20 minutes. Just keeping an eye on it every once in a while, giving it a stir, but just cooking it down until those juices are released. We get to the finish point, you're going to wind up with about a quarter of the volume of what you started with. I'm going to blanch some of these off in boiling water. You want to get a big pot with lots of water, bring it to a rolling boil, add some salt so it's well seasoned, and then throw enough of the vegetable in so that the temperature of the water may drop down, but it comes back up to a boil fairly quickly. The sooner you can get them cooked tender and out, the more flavorful your beans are going to be. It's going to keep really nice color on them. People also ask, how long do you cook the beans? You take one out and you taste it. So I'm going to drain these into a colander and run plenty of cold water over them just to stop them from cooking. And it also helps to set the color a little bit so that they stay nice and bright and vibrant. As you get closer to it being finished, probably wilted down by half, I want to use a large skillet. I'm going to add my Soffrito, shake off all the moisture, water off of your beans, toss them in there. A little bit of freshly ground black pepper, a pinch of salt, and then we're just heating everything through and we're making sure that the beans are really well coated. Great way to showcase the best of what summer has to offer. And this becomes a great side dish for a steak, pork chop, and actually today I've got a nice piece of Ono.
Anderson Valley is considered a cool climate. It's actually very warm during the day, but then it has foggy, cool evenings and also foggy mornings. On the nose it has really pretty dried rose, a little bit of hints of leather, some black cherry, plum. On the flavors it's very rich and deep, blackberry, black cherry, a little briary or wild characteristic to it. And it has a really nice depth in the mid palate, and it's just a beautiful wine, very balanced and very expressive of the varietal.
The sweetness in the vegetables helps to bring out, the nice red fruit characteristics, I think.
The beans do have a natural sweetness to them, and along with the Soffritos, that also is sweet, but it also has a little spiciness to it, and I think it really helps to bring forward the sweetness of the fruit and also to bring up the acidity of the fruit.